There are various reasons why women are not interested in men. And society is baffled by a woman not desiring to be with a man in a romantic and or sexual relationship because we live in a heteronormative society which prioritizes heterosexual relationships or heterosexual marriage. However, they're not focused on the underlying reasons why heterosexual relationships and heterosexual marriages are declining. And they don't understand why a woman would not be interested in a man, primarily because we live in a male-dominated society. And when a man dictates how a woman should operate, he doesn't empathize with her. He doesn't consider her thought processes. And the economy suffers, the families suffer, and it's global. It's like a global crisis when it comes to relationships between men and women. There is the 4B movement that is really prominent. If it was founded in South Korea, and it's also now very prominent in the United States of America. And just to briefly give you a history about the 4B movement, there were Korean women who protested against heterosexual marriage, the refusal of heterosexual marriage. And this movement began because women were treated extremely like they were worse than animals, pretty much. They were not regarded as women, and people were taking advantage of their access to women, meaning men were taking advantage of their access to women. And there's different laws in different the countries, which can pretty much give you more background about why a lot of women in Korea are against heterosexual marriage. However, I just want to discuss that, yes, heterosexual women are tired of the abuse. They're tired of the exploitation. They're tired of being treated as second class. And women in general may decide they don't want to be in a relationship with a man, and that's their prerogative. I believe the world has become so controlling to the point where they believe that women will never be able to make it on their own as independent women. And they also don't consider being single as an option. It's like they've really made being in a relationship, a marriage, a requirement. Well, marriage is not a requirement. If a person wants to be single, that is their choice. A lot of these men feel entitled to women. If you study history, women were actual property of men, women and children. They were looked at basically as slaves. And so that is subhuman. And that mindset, that mentality is still very active. Even if a person doesn't have the legalistic power over a woman. For example, here in the United States of America, slavery of women is illegal. Women are not considered second class to men. However, because of the history of the United States of America, women were at one point in life not even able to vote. And it was so bad that even when slavery was legal in the United States of America, they enslaved Black people for over 400 years, to show you how women were considered such a unimportant non-factor to men. They allowed Black men, once slavery ended, Black men were allowed to vote while women were not allowed to vote. Even if you were a Caucasian white woman, you did not have the right to vote. I don't believe voting rights came into effect until the year of 1920. And so that just gives you a little bit of background on how women are treated in the United States of America. And you could just imagine globally. Now, there are women who are not interested in men, not just because she is a heterosexual woman, but there are women who identify as lesbian, and we're not interested in men. Women who identify as lesbian have a natural affinity for women. They are emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and sexually interested in women only. And I'm finding more and more men becoming outraged with women because of women's rights and the feminist movement, and women who are educating themselves, women who are speaking up for themselves and choosing to be single. Many men are extremely frustrated and angry with women because they know their worth. And when you are completely decentered from men, in which I am decentered from men because I identify as a lesbian, I don't have the same focus or interest in men as heterosexual women have for men. And what I mean by that is I'm not against men. I don't think that men are terrible humans. However, I determine who a person is based upon their character and how they treat themselves and how they treat other people. But there's various reasons why women are not interested in men. And I don't have all of the reasons to give you in this video due to the sake of time, but I just want to highlight a reason why heterosexual women are not interested in men, and then highlight a reason why lesbian women are not interested in men. So beginning with heterosexual women who have already experienced dating men over the years, or some of them have even been single, and just their experiences and observations with men has been very toxic. And then, of course, if a heterosexual woman marries a man, then she really knows a man at that point because she's lived with the man. She's probably had children with this man. She's seen all of his moods. She knows his ways. She knows his character. So pretty much women are very observant, intuitive people. And she knows this man inside out. So number one, choosing to marry a person is a choice. And I do believe that your relationship status is tied into your purpose. And your relationship status could be single or married. I won't go too deep in this video about your relationship status being tied into your purpose, but what I mean is when you choose to marry another person, it is still a choice, but also it affects your livelihood. It also affects your purpose in life. If you are making a commitment to marry a person, it needs to be purpose driven. We're not to get married to someone who does not move the needle forward. In other words, you're not here to marry out of selfish interests. And many of these men are marrying women out of selfish interests because they view women as property. They view women as slaves. They view women as only here to cater to men. Men are extremely selfish, and they think that a woman doesn't have a purpose, but a man has a purpose, and that women are only to abide by what a lot of men say their program. There's, if you look at a lot of the content and thoughts of men, you can, in the manosphere spaces, you will begin to understand how they think and how they operate in their dealings with women. And they want women to fall in line with their program. So that keyword program, that they are programming you. They're literally brainwashing you. And if you do not obey these rules that a man has set out for you, then you're not worthy of him. And I just want to say that heterosexual women, they're human beings, and they're wired to be loved. But women are not being loved by men. They're being used by men. And women are not understood because these men are not taking their time to get to know women. Most of these men don't really know who they're with. It's like they're sleeping with a stranger. What's really disturbing is when you have a mindset that a woman is to follow your lead and that she doesn't have a voice of her own, or she doesn't, or rather she should not disagree with your decision making, that causes conflict. And women are very intuitive. They can be very spiritual beings. And when a man doesn't listen to his wife, the marriage is headed for doom. And many of these men do not listen to their wives because they've been indoctrinated with the belief that women are indecisive, they are too emotional, women are not able to think independently, and that a woman's thoughts will only lead to destruction. And a lot of religious sectors will focus on the story, the situation with Adam and Eve in the garden, and how Eve ate the fruit and disobeyed God, and she caused calamity to exist in the world. Some people use the creation story to hold it against women, as if women should not ever be in a position to make decisions. But what they don't understand that is that the man was not, who was Eve, I mean, the man who was Adam, he was not being a husband, and he was not being a leader. And they were actually both considered equals. And when you think about how women are not considered equal to men, they were equals in the beginning. They were both given equal power. They had dominion over the entire earth. So it was never originally the man was always the leader or the head of the woman. That actually happened after the fall of man. So what I'm trying to say is both a man and a woman is capable of sinning, and they have to make their own decisions in life. But a lot of times men are not proactive with women. They do not protect their women. They do not speak to their women gently and lead them in the right direction if they see that she's getting off course. And that was Adam's issue. That was his fault in the garden. He didn't really protect his wife and love her because he allowed her to eat that fruit, and he knew what the repercussions was. Now, he wasn't ruling over her at that time because they still were innocent before they ate the fruit. But he even ate the fruit with her. So this shows you a lack of leadership in men. It shows a lack of a man protecting a woman. It also shows that a man does not know how to speak to his woman intelligently, because he could have communicated with his wife to help her remember what God commanded, that they are not to eat of the knowledge of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But he didn't do any of it. He was actually very passive. And so men will not address those realities. They'll just blame women. And Adam also blamed God, and he blamed his wife, because when God asked Adam, and here you need to pay attention to, God actually went to Adam first, because Adam, he was placed in the garden before his wife. And he went to Adam and he asked him, "Where are you?" And so the man said he hid himself because he was naked. The Lord said, "Who told you that?" And so as you read the story as it unfolds, Adam ends up blaming God and blaming the woman for eating of the fruit. So that's another very toxic characteristic of men, is they play the blame game. They always blame women for all of their issues instead of taking responsibility as a man. And this does not mean that women are not supposed to be responsible. They absolutely are. And the woman should have been responsible. Eve should have been responsible. She was not. She made a choice, and that was the fall of mankind. But I'm just trying to explain to you how relationships work. If you are in a relationship with another person, you have to communicate with each other consistently. You just can't let people do whatever they want to do. That's chaos. And that's what you see today in this world, is chaos. You see men and women fighting against each other constantly because one wants to be right and they want to say the other one is wrong, instead of building together and coming together. They choose to separate themselves. But there comes a time when you really do need to separate yourself from a person who is abusive and toxic. And that's why these women are in the 4B movement, because they have to protect their own selves as women, because the men are not protecting them, and because they are not respected and valued and esteemed highly by men. A woman is extremely valuable, but if a man does not treat her as a wife, then he does not deserve to have a wife. So I understand why the 4B movement is in effect. A man does not deserve, and he does not even need a wife when he is not able to be a husband. Having a wife is a very honorable thing. It's actually allows you to receive the favor of the Most High God. And if you don't believe me, you can read the scriptures. When a woman comes in your life, a good woman, a wife, you receive favor from the Most High God. But these men, when they mistreat their wives, God cannot give them favor. As a matter of fact, God does not even hear their prayers. So a woman choosing to be single is actually wise. It's better to be single than to be with someone who is going to bring you calamity and destruction. And if you are divorced, it's better to remain in your single state again. If you are married and you're being cheated on, what's the point of being with the man who is going around being promiscuous with people who he is not married to? He's only supposed to be with his wife sexually. And the other issue is these men demanding that their wives only sleep with them, but they are free to go out and sleep with as many women as they want to. And some of them are even sleeping with men. Let's just keep it 100. And a wife is supposed to just deal with it. Well, that wasn't a part of the marriage. We didn't agree to cheating on each other and being promiscuous. But yet the man will still go out and be heavily involved in infidelity and expect a woman to keep forgiving him and staying with him. Well, these women are disgusted with men, and they are leaving the marriage, and they have the right to leave their marriage if their husband is unfaithful to them. Why would you think a woman would be interested in you as a man when you do not have any self-control? It makes no sense. And with lesbians, pretty much I've seen this all my life, but it's more and more prevalent where men are very fixated on lesbians. And men are very dismissive of lesbian sexual orientation because they think that all women want a man. And this comes from a patriarchal society where men feel entitled to women. They look at women as desperate. They think every woman does not want to go through life without a man. So she's willing to do anything to be with a man. And when he sees a woman who shows no interest in men at all, he immediately evaluates her as being either frustrated with being single because she can't get the man that she wants, or she has been with men who have mistreated her. And then there's also other reasons, but they always view women who identify as lesbians as always having some type of interaction or relationship with men that was faulty, and it caused a woman to be hurt, and she just chooses to be single, or she settles to be with another woman only because she has not met the right man. These men always refer lesbians as being in a state of waiting on a man. And that's extremely irrational thinking. It's very dangerous for men to feel like they can have access to all women. And the reason why is because when they see that they do not have access to you and that you are confident and peaceful as a lesbian, whether you're single or if you're dating women or if you're married to a woman, it enrages men, and it can be extremely it can be devastating because he may verbally attack a woman. He may even physically attack a woman because he wants to exercise control and hatred. So there's misogyny, there's homophobia that's all entailed in heterosexual men in the way they perceive lesbian women. They know that these women are lesbians, but they want to overpower them and they want to be placed on a pedestal by lesbian women. It's like a one up, because if a man can get access to a lesbian woman where she actually is dating him or ends up marrying him, then he gets so much kudos or points from other males for being able to pull a lesbian. But a lesbian being with the man is really superficial. There's an ulterior motive behind it because lesbians do not desire being with men. And her reasons for being with the man might shock you. And then you have men who complain about how women mistreated them or divorced them, but they never understand or know the woman that they're with. You could be sleeping with an enemy and you wouldn't know it because you're just looking at her and you find her physically attractive and you'll do anything to get her. And you don't know the character of that woman at all. She could be very dangerous. And yes, it's women who can pretty much sabotage your life, but you can't blame a woman for it when you were not a man who took precaution and took his time before jumping into a relationship with a woman. So you're complaining about, oh, she took all my money. Oh, she took my children away from me. Oh, she left me for somebody else. Women may have various reasons why they're not interested in you as a man. And you will focus on what she did to you, but you don't ever process and dissect what you did to her. And a lesbian wants a woman. And if you think that you will be able to get the undivided attention of a lesbian woman, you are delusional as a man. And so when women are not interested in men, when you are not interested in men, it is liberating. It is powerful. You have tapped into the secret of being a successful woman. You will be able to reach milestones that you have never been able to reach before in life when you were entangled with a man. Men do not want to see women be free. A woman is extremely resourceful, and men know this. That's why they are very anxious and they're extremely irrational and very even violent when they don't have a woman in their life. But I just want to say to all the women, when you're not interested in men, you are really blessed. If you are decentered from men, and lesbians are decentered from men innately, but if you're heterosexual, you've been through enough drama with men, you know that you deserve more. Go in peace. Go on a vacation. Go and do that thing that you've been putting off and enjoy yourself. Because when you're not interested in men, you are free. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Giselle Wallace. I am a professional certified life coach. Contact me for a one-on-one life coaching session. We can talk more in detail about your situation and how to maneuver in life more effectively and efficiently. We're living in some turbulent times, and it's always good to have a professional listening ear that can give you guidance and support and wisdom. I am here for you. I will be glad to coach you, and I appreciate you. You are beautiful. You are valuable. You are seen, and you deserve to live the best life ever. Our time on this earth is precious. It's not supposed to be wasted with pain and dread and agony. You are to live an abundant life. Jesus came to give us life. And he said, and an abundant life. Go get your abundant life. Thank you for listening.